Welcome back to my No Name channel, and I'm Bruce Pullman, and this is another Bali Covid-19 update. And today is August 8th, 2020. And, well, let's take a look. What are we going to do today? We're going to look at the numbers first, right? And be talking about the hospital in Singaraja, along with the numbers. After that, go on to opening. So Bali opened, it's been a week and a day now, and we're going to talk about that and look at the what the Bali government did, and then we're going to take a look at an interesting thing that the Badung police said about what they're going to do with opening. And then after that, we're going to take a look at foreigners in Bali. Now, I've talked about foreigners in Bali behaving badly before, quite a bit. But there's another side. There's also, and I've talked about some good things that foreigners have been doing here, but there's another side. And not happy, unfortunately, but not people just being idiots. This is some of the unfortunate things that happen to foreigners here, and so I'm going to talk about that. And so, let's get started. And numbers, well, 38 new cases. So we're down from where we were up not too long ago, where we were getting 70, 80, 90, 100 cases a day. So positive news, I guess, 38 cases. We now have a total of 3,682 positives. So, yeah, that's not good. 3,208 recovered. That's good. And so that's been going up. And so 16 days in a row, we've been showing positive numbers in terms of recovered patients. And so it's real positive, 49 deaths, and 425 active cases, and so the active cases are going down, and so there's some good news there. Now, we have to remember that we don't know what's going on since Bali is open. It's only been 8 days. You have to wait for another week, another 2 weeks, and see what's going to happen. And so what about cases? There's a interesting news article that was in the news today. A patient was tested for rapid test in a hospital in Bulawayo, and according to the news reports, and links are down below, of course, like usual, he was reactive for the rapid test and was not feeling well, and he was sent home by the hospital. They made a complaint to the local government, the regional government here, and the regent is understandably upset and said that he's sent a letter to the hospital telling them that what they did was inappropriate, that what they needed to do was, even if they weren't able on a HR basis and on facilities available, they weren't able to take care of this patient, they should have either contacted the Bali Covid-19 task force, or they should have referred him to one of the referral hospitals for COVID-19 patients, and we have them here in Bulawayo. And so it's kind of disturbing that this hospital, a private hospital that was not named in the article, I suppose that's on purpose, but according to the article, this has happened before. There's been more complaints about patients not being taken care of correctly in Bulawayo. This is worrying, especially since I use private hospitals when I've been hospitalized in the past, and I use them for checkups. So, they need to get things together here. And the regent said that this is a warning, and that if this occurs again, he's going to revoke the license of the hospital to practice medicine in Bululang. Good. Need to get tough on this. And so that's it. Let's go on and talk about the opening. So July 31st, right, was the long-awaited opening for domestic tourists, and the deputy governor was out at the airport along with Air Force personnel, administrators from the hospital, some key tourism players to welcome the new arrivals. And the first plane had 84 tourists coming in from Jakarta on a Garuda. They were welcomed with open arms. You can see a photo here, and everybody was wearing masks in this photo. So, good news. Unfortunately, I saw a photo of this same person, the deputy governor, out at some functions around Bali, and he was not wearing a mask. He had a mask, but it was around his throat, and so was everybody else's. So, not exactly a good example, deputy governor. You need to wear your mask if you expect everybody else to wear their mask. And that's one of the problems. So what's going to happen with these new arrivals? Because according to another article, 4,000 people showed up on opening day, and 4,000. Okay, so domestic tourists. Now, according to the government, the health protocols are going to be rigorously adhered to. They were, he said, at the deputy governor said they were at the airport, and that they are going to be enforced around the island, at hotels and at tourist sites, and also that there's local COVID-19 task forces that are going to be keeping an eye on things on a village basis, and if anything happens, it's going to be reported directly to the Bali Covid-19 task force, the one that covers all of Bali. And so, this is good, good talk. Is this going to happen? Since the island has opened for tourism, one of the things I've noticed is that more people are stopping wearing masks. This has happened in other countries, and what's happened has been that cases have gone up again. It's happened in Korea, it's happened in Japan. Well, the United States, things are out of control there. It's happened in Germany. It's common. People go, okay, they're tired, and I'm tired. Everybody's tired of wearing a mask and being careful and social distancing. But as we get an influx of tourists, and it looks like we're going to get more and more local tourists coming in, the deputy governor said that the thing is that we want the tourists to feel comfortable and we want them to feel safe. We want to develop trust with them that they're going to be taken care of here, that everything is going to be okay. That's the key. Well, it is the key, but what's happening when people don't wear masks and when they don't social distance and when you have restaurants and bars and people are sitting right next to each other? Are we going to get a spike? I don't know. We're going to have to see. We see this phenomena happening around the world where people get relaxed and then the cases go up. And I was just reading an article about Japan, and it said that people are starting to rebel against the government policies because they feel that the government in Japan is not doing enough. And, well, you see that in a lot of places around the world, unfortunately. In South Korea, for example, President Moon's rating has been dropping, although that's more related to real estate issues than it is to COVID-19. COVID-19 in South Korea, numbers are way down, with the exception of imported cases. And so that's one of the things we have to look at. Now, if you're a foreigner and you're not in Bali, you're outside, what's going to happen? Is Bali going to open on September 11th like it's been widely publicized? The government said that they're going to wait and see how things work out. Now, we don't have a big space here. This is already August 8th. So we've gone 1 week into the domestic tourism. We'll go 2 weeks. That takes us to what, the 15th, around the 15th, the 14th or 15th. Another week, 22nd. Are we going to start to see an increase in cases? If we do, is that going to affect the international opening date? And are people going to come? People that I've been talking to from around Asia, Japan, Korea, Taiwan, China, they want to come to Bali. Are they going to come now? They look at the numbers nationally. And what are the numbers nationally? Yesterday we had 2,473 new cases. We have a total of 121,226 total, and 5,593 deaths. Now, obviously, that's not Bali. That's the whole of Indonesia. But when people take a look at what's happening here, when foreigners take a look at what's happening here, what are they going to think? Are they going to come? Will they feel safe in Bali? We'll have to look at the next couple of weeks. I know I've heard from a few viewers, they really want to come. They're waiting to see what's going to happen. I think everybody is. So at this point, September 11th still looks like it. Personally, as I've said before, I'd wait a little while, and the government has said that they don't expect things to ramp up immediately, and they're looking really at the December period when we traditionally get a lot of tourists, and around Christmas time and New Year's. So they're looking at that as a time when we should start to get some numbers. And the government said, well, we're not really talking about numbers right now. We're just kind of looking at how things go. Okay. Is this going to work? I don't know. Hope so. I know people really want to get back to work. People need jobs. So, wear a mask. Keep safe. Social distance. It's easy to fall into a lull, and we need to protect ourselves here. This is a small island, and our medical facilities are limited. If we get a huge surge, it's going to put enormous pressure on our medical facilities. We've already had a number of doctors and nurses die here, and throughout Indonesia, the numbers are very depressing. What's up next? Well, one more item about the opening, and this was an article about the Badung police, and the title was "New Normal: Badung Police Threaten Criminals, Shoot on Spot." Okay, so according to the person who was quoted in the article from the Badung police, and there's a photo of him here. He said that in welcoming the new normal in, Badung police are going to be very serious about the potential crime as tourists start to come in again, and they're going to be doing patrols day and night. And he mentioned North Kuta in particular. He said this has always been a problem in North Kuta. And this is bag snatchings and robbings of tourists, both domestic and international. And so police are going to be out on patrol day and night. And he warned criminals in his report to the press that, hey, if you commit a crime and you offer resistance or attempt to flee, we will shoot you. So, okay, pretty serious. Now the Bali police have been known for shooting people in the legs when they flee, and it's often reported in the press as hot lead. And so there's a warning for you criminals out there. If you're watching, you are going to be shot on spot. So North Kuta is going to have police out, and I hope there's going to be police out in Canggu, because Canggu has still been frequent messages on the Canggu Facebook communities about people having their phones stolen, their helmets stolen, their bags ripped off while they're driving their motorbikes. So Canggu has a problem, and so let's get some police out there as well. Okay, so that's opening. Let's see how things go. And next, I'm going to talk about foreigners in Bali. Now, foreigners in Bali have talked about the bad behavior of some foreigners having parties, and there's you can see a number of reports on my earlier COVID-19 updates, sneaking out to the beach, breaking down guards, all of that. Okay, so I've talked about that. And the good news about foreigners here who are involved in distributing food to people that are hungry, giving people that work for them, which I like to call their staff, paid time off, so that they can stay at home and social distance and protect themselves. So there's been the good and the bad. Now, there's a part of Bali that is not talked about a lot, but it shows up in the press. And that's people that arrive here, and they either lose it while they're here, or they've arrived and they're mentally unstable. And according to a number of articles that I read, those numbers are increasing, and people are being deported for a number of different reasons as well. And so first I'm going to talk about the deportations. So deportation list for the last 6 months, according to the article below here, 59 total from 26 countries. And as was reported in several different news sources, Russians led the list with 10. 7 Aussies, 5 Bulgarians, 4 Chinese, and 3 Filipinos, and then assortment of other nationalities. And of these, the violations were for visa problems. For the most part, almost all of them were visa problems. Either not complying with the law, working when they shouldn't be working, overstaying their visas. And so if you're one of those people, and the visa, the government has loosened up on visas. You can apply for visas online now. I'm not really going to go into that because there's been some confusing cases. Originally things were moving very quickly, and then they seem to have slowed down a little bit. But if you take a look at Jackie Pomeroy's Bali COVID-19 updates on Facebook, and there's a link down below here, you'll see there's information about the visa issues. And so you have no reason to overstay your visa. You can deal with your visa issues. Immigration seems to be pretty open to working with foreigners that want to stay here longer. And so take a look at the link below. Okay, so deportations. People are being deported. Do not work if you're not supposed to. That's a big no-no here. Okay, now mental health cases in the foreign community. Well, so the one that I was looking at the other day, a Romanian citizen was deported. He had apparently been apprehended for a visa violation originally, and when he was at the immigration detention center, he started acting out, and he was checked, and sent to Bali, a well-known mental health facility in Indonesia, in Bali, and he was diagnosed as being bipolar. It was reported that once he got there, he was cooperative. I guess he was not cooperative at all in immigration, and he was moved from Bali back to immigration, and he's going to be deported, it appears. And so, chalk another one up for the Romanians. Then we have the case of an Englishman, an older Englishman, who was found sleeping in a gazebo, or a hut, according to one article. A gazebo, and another gazebo is a better term, I think, on the beach in Mengwi. And he was begging for food from local people. This created a disturbance. People were upset that there was a foreigner sleeping out in the open. Apparently he had a pillow and a blanket with him, and begging for food. And so he was secured by local residents, according to the article, and delivered to the police. And the police questioned him. He said that he had been robbed. All of his belongings disappeared, including his documentation, that he'd been working as a freelance at a hotel, and according to one article, I didn't quite get how that worked. But he was robbed, and so he was out of money, and so he was begging, and so he's also been deported. And there's a photo of him at the airport here. And so, unfortunate, this is happening. There's more cases, and several articles have alluded to this, said increasing numbers of foreigners who are begging or showing signs of mental instability because they're broke. So, I'm guessing that these are people that came here, stayed, whether they should have or not, when the island kind of shut down, and they ran out of money. I'm not sure what they were thinking of when they stayed here, but they were here, they ran out of money, so they resorted to begging. And we have another case of another Romanian, and this Romanian was staying in a villa, and he couldn't pay his rent. He was broke too. So he was kicked out of the villa, and he went berserk, according to the article, threw a suitcase into the swimming pool. I'm guessing it was his suitcase. Didn't say it was his in the article, but I'm guessing it was his suitcase. Threw a suitcase in the swimming pool, and the villa owner called the police, and he was arrested. And here's another one who's going to be deported. So 2 for the Romanians. Okay, so what are you going to do if you don't have any money here? Well, you've got friends. There's ways to transfer money fairly easily these days. If you're out of money, go to the consulate. Go to your consulate. Try to get home. Consulates should be able to help people. Begging from locals, especially in this environment, is not a good plan. And another case, and this one is a little strange. A young American, I think he's 21 years old, 21-year-old American student, was arrested for smuggling marijuana. And now the article said in Brownies, but then it talked about it, then it said cake. So I'm not sure if it's the chocolate cake or the Brownies. It's just a mistranslation. What is the cake and the Brownies? Are the cake and the Brownies the same thing? Anyway, was full of marijuana, and he received it from, well, he said his family in the U.S. They sent this to him along with some other things, toys and some other items. And when it arrived at the Renan postal office, it was checked by customs, and they suspected something, and they set this American up. He'd been here for 6 months. He was studying making handicrafts out of bamboo. Was studying with a local foundation, and they got to set the package up. He came to get the package, and he was busted and is in jail. And he admitted to being a marijuana user. Now, regardless of what you feel about marijuana, and if you really like smoking pot, well, America's a good place to be now. I never thought I would see the day that you could buy marijuana freely. But, well, you don't want to do it here. It's against the law, whether you agree with it or not. It's dangerous. You can go to jail for a long time, and you don't want to be in jail in Bali. And so he was arrested, and well, not sure what's going to happen to him. The police seem to not take this as seriously as in some cases. He admitted guilt, said he'd been using marijuana for 2 years. They said it wasn't enough for him to deal. It was for personal use, and so it's quite possible that he gets a light sentence. In some cases, people have been sentenced to rehabilitation. In other cases, they've been given quite long prison sentences for marijuana. This is really up to the court in terms of sentencing. And so, that's it for today. Weather is up north anyway, is brilliant. Sunny, very, very windy today. And a couple of days ago, I took my kayak out and had a mishap. And I've got a video that I was taking while I was out, and maybe I'll put that on my Singaraja snippets, and I just uploaded a Singaraja snippets about Jalan Imam Bonjol and kite flying in Bali, and the link is up here if you want to take a look at that. And if you want more Bali updates, or you want to take a look at the anthropology videos that I'm doing, and I have the third part of the Spice Island talk coming up in a couple of days, and then I'm going to go back and talk about the history of anthropology. And the Singaraja snippets, I think I'll put a little short one about the kayaking. And my granddaughter, unfortunately, is back in Denpasar with her parents doing online schooling. There's still no school in Bali. Well, school is online here. And so I don't have my walking partner. So I'm kind of at a loss right now. But on Tuesday, I have to go to the religious affairs office because my oldest daughter is getting married. Well, I'm not sure exactly what day. Everything seems to change. You know, Indonesians and long-range plans, even short-range plans, not always the best. So I think it's in another week, week and a half. Not really sure. I'm just paying for things. And so I'm going to try to do a little video for Singaraja snippets from the motorbike. And so that's it anyway for today. I hope you're well. Stay safe. Remember, if you're in Bali, wearing a mask is mandatory. It's mandatory all over Indonesia now. The President Jokowi, said this the other day. It is mandatory to wear a mask if you're out in public. Wear a mask, social distance. Remember, even if you don't believe in this, it's your responsibility as a guest to be a good guest. And stay safe and be kind to someone today. See you next time.